How bad is the Chinese economy? Shocking disclosures from internal experts suggest Xi's challenges may be growing. Vicious competition in China's retail industry. Tangshan Funeral Home's crematorium divides bodies into high and low-grade, video exposes. Gansu earthquake rescue operation concludes after 15 hours, experts interpret doubts. It's all covered in today's China Truths. How bad is the Chinese economy? Shocking disclosures from internal experts suggest Xi's challenges may be growing. Given the context of the Central Economic Work Conference of the Chinese Communist Party emphasizing enhanced economic propaganda and public opinion guidance, CCP official media has consistently projected optimism about the Chinese economy. However, recent leaked comments from various Chinese economic experts have laid bare the dire state of China's economy. Analysts posit that unless there is a significant rebound in the Chinese economy, the challenges for CCP leader Xi Jinping are likely to intensify. In more detail, in a circulating online video, Professor Wei Jia, head of the Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Strategic Department at Tsinghua University and director of the Cultural and Economic Research Institute, spoke at the Sanya Financial International Forum. Wei stated, during the 3 years of the pandemic, the income of people outside the system has significantly decreased. Because we are all within the system, our salaries are being paid as usual. If people outside the system don't work, they don't have money. So, we underestimated the impact of the 3-year pandemic on the income of people outside the system. We underestimated the situation of the income reduction for people outside the system, and in reality, the decrease in their income is beyond our imagination. In another video, economist Guan Qingyu, speaking at the 2023 Phoenix Financial Annual Conference, mentioned that maintaining the Shanghai Composite Index at 3,000 points is already quite optimistic. 3,000 points are not sufficient to reflect the current basic characteristics. You should look at the Chi-Next Index and the CSI 300. It's much worse than 3,000 points. Even Hu Xijin, the former editor-in-chief of the Global Times known for supporting the CCP, recently acknowledged that there is no positive outlook for A-shares, Chinese stocks. The economic downturn has already plunged many people's lives into difficulty, if not despair. On December 17 in Shenzhen, a man was found living in an underground passage with a tent, accompanied by a breastfeeding infant. In the context of the economic situation, last month, Nomura Securities, a Japanese financial services firm, disclosed that China's real estate industry is collapsing, with as many as 20 million unfinished buildings. They anticipated that the problem of delayed housing delivery would evolve into a societal issue at some point next year. Wang Dan, a leader of the June 4th movement and a political commentator, recently conveyed to Voice of America that in China's system, as long as the economy can maintain a certain level of growth, all contradictions can be covered up. He pointed out that the massive outflow of foreign capital and the inability of internal consumption to boost the economy are contributing to a deeper crisis in China, spanning from real estate to the debt crisis and beyond. Wang Dan expects that if the Chinese economy continues to decline or remain stagnant with a high unemployment rate, it will become increasingly challenging to conceal other crises. Consequently, he foresees that as long as the Chinese economy does not rebound significantly, Xi Jinping will face more and more challenges in the future. He believes that Xi Jinping's prestige has significantly fallen among the public. Whether it's the white paper movement calling for Xi Jinping to step down or the later so-called Flower Revolution mourning for Li Keqiang, both reflect a strong aversion to Xi Jinping personally. Therefore, Wang thinks we can conclude now that Xi Jinping's popularity among the public has almost hit rock bottom. As for his standing within the party, we are not very clear, but it cannot be very high either. I believe this is a clear trend. Voice of America reports that amid the current turmoil, various overseas civil groups and activists, including the Chinese Democratic Party and other democracy movements, as well as exiled Tibetans and Uyghur activists, are appearing on overseas social platforms and public spaces. While some openly advocate for overthrowing the Xi regime, promoting separation, or endorsing constitutional monarchy, many of these activities are still in their early stages. Nevertheless, as existing or potential opposition forces, they are contributing to shaping public opinion against Xi's dictatorship. Meanwhile, overseas democracy activists, including Wei Jingsheng, Wang Dan, Wang Huntao, etc., proposed an initiative in Los Angeles during Xi Jinping's attendance at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit in San Francisco. They are gearing up to organize a national affairs conference next year to deliberate on plans for ending tyranny and creating a democratic China. Wang Dan remarked that in the upcoming year 2024, there will be a growing number of incidents where the Chinese people express their dissatisfaction through unforeseen events. He underscored that the essence of all crises is its economic crisis. Vicious competition in China's retail industry. In order to attract Chinese consumers who are unwilling to spend money, the retail landscape in mainland China is being reshaped. Merchants are engaging in price wars to attract consumers through low-cost goods and services. This may cause the Chinese economy to fall further into a contraction quagmire. Currently, there are numerous examples of Chinese retailers cutting costs or offering lower-priced alternatives in order to cater to consumers who are unwilling to spend money. For example, China's largest hot pot chain Haidilao opened 2 low-price brand stores Hailao Hot Pot in late September. Compared with the main brand of Haidilao, which is positioned as a mid to high-end brand, the per capita consumption of Hailao Hot Pot is 78 yuan. It is nearly 30% cheaper than the per capita consumption of Haidilao in Beijing, and there is a situation of son and father compete for business. Mitai, which sells for 1,499 yuan, about $209.89 for a 500 milliliters bottle, launched latte and chocolate products infused with Mitai this year, priced as low as 35 yuan. In the past 5 months, Walmart's membership chain Sam's Club and Alibaba's Hema Fresh have been locked in a price war, with both parties competing to cut prices. The prices of popular items such as durian cakes at Sam's Club have even dropped by as much as 34%. Reuters reported that Mark Tanner, founder of Shanghai-based marketing agency China Skinny, said that consumers' pursuit of value for money is replacing previous consumption upgrades on various products. He added that discounts and cheaper product launches have led to lower average selling prices across multiple product categories, including supplements, dairy products, skin care, and cosmetics. China says it expects inflation to rise, but data earlier this month showed consumer prices falling at the fastest pace in 3 years and factory deflation deepening. Consumers are not feeling economic growth. On the contrary, youth unemployment remains high and employee wages have fallen. Budget chains expand. This tightening consumer climate has also given rise to a new breed of discount stores, a new phenomenon in mainland China, which has prompted greater competition as merchants rush to announce steep price cuts. Snacks Are Busy is a snack brand with a history of 6 years. According to the Changsha-based company, products are cheaper than supermarkets and it plans to expand the number of stores to 10,000 by 2025 from the current 4,000. China's largest snack brand Best Store fought back last November, cutting prices on 300 products by an average of 22%, with the largest price reduction of 45%, the largest price reduction in history. Hotmax, which specializes in selling expiring products at cheaper prices, has also set a goal to expand the number of stores to 5,000 over the next 3 years from the current 250, according to its website. Analysts believe that with price cuts, the proliferation of cheap stores, and the provision of cheaper, smaller versions of products, mainland Chinese companies may enter a vicious cycle of declining profit margins, thereby suppressing wage and employment growth and further suppressing consumer appetite. Tangshan Funeral Home's Crematorium divides bodies into high and low grade, video exposes. Recently, a funeral home in Tangshan City, Hebei Province, came under scrutiny for segregating the cremation of remains into high and low grades. In more detail, in a circulated video, the funeral home displayed signs on its walls, including Introduction to Yanshan Cemetery in Fengren District, Tangshan City, high-grade furnace ash collection point, and low-grade furnace ash collection point. The video commentary claimed that high-grade and low-grade furnaces led in opposite directions. In response to criticism, funeral home staff explained that high-grade furnaces are more luxurious, and the associated costs are higher. On December 20th, an official from the Tangshan Civil Affairs Bureau informed the media that these signs were from many years ago and were removed after the video became public. Many netizens have discussed this issue. Some noted that their county operates similarly. In the high-end area, you can enter and collect intact bones. In the low-end area, they shovel ashes into a can through a small window, and you don't even know whose ashes they are. Previously, in Zhengzhou, Hunan Province, a woman named Fan sparked online discussions when the funeral home reported the loss of her father's ashes. 10 years ago, her father's ashes were stored at the Xinmi City Funeral Home. On November 19th of this year, after her grandfather's passing, the family intended to bury the father and grandfather together. However, when Fan visited the funeral home to collect her father's ashes, she was informed that they were missing. The funeral home explained to Ms. Fan that around 2020, they changed the room where the ashes were stored, and during the transfer, they might have lost or mixed up the ashes. Ms. Fan said that now they have found a new set of ashes, claiming they belong to my father. Her mother had a heart attack upon hearing this news, expressing deep distress and sleepless nights. Many netizens commented on the situation, saying, "This kind of mistake is unacceptable, and the harm caused to others is immeasurable. The damage that cannot be erased for a lifetime. Feels like every day they cremate a batch, then randomly grab a handful and burn them together, putting the ashes in the family's box." Gansu earthquake rescue operation concludes after 15 hours, experts interpret doubts. Next, we'll provide a latest update on the 6.2 magnitude earthquake that struck Gansu on December 18 at 23:59. As of the official update on the 20th, the earthquake caused at least 113 deaths, 782 injuries, and the collapse of nearly 15,000 houses in Gansu. Over 200,000 houses were damaged, affecting more than 140,000 people. In Qinghai's Haidong City, 18 people died, 198 were injured, and 16 remain missing. The combined death toll in Gansu and Qinghai is at least 131, but due to the CCP's tendency to conceal disaster information, the actual number of casualties may be higher. However, on December 20th at noon, Gansu Emergency Management announced the conclusion of rescue operations as of 3 p.m. on the 19th, just 15 hours after the earthquake began. The focus shifted to treating the injured and resettling affected populations. Notably, this decision came within the typical 72-hour golden window for earthquake rescue, raising questions about the reasons behind this early conclusion. The announcement only mentioned fatalities and injuries, omitting any information about missing persons. Experts expressed skepticism about this unusual decision, and attempts to seek clarification from authorities were met with reluctance. The Epoch Times reporter's calls to a frontline command staff member were hung up, indicating a lack of transparency. Mainland Chinese media person Yang Xian suggested that the CCP aims to downplay the severity of the disaster, fearing excessive sensationalization from the outside world. Official concerns also include the involvement of the Gansu Provincial United Front Work Department and the Bureau of Ethnic and Religious Affairs, both dealing with minority issues, making this earthquake politically sensitive. Construction quality questioned. Commenting on the CCP's reports of 15,000 houses collapsed, Mr. Wang Weiluo, a land and resource planning management expert based in Germany, expressed concerns. He highlighted a significant disparity between the CCP's reported 6.2 magnitude earthquake and the United States assessment of it being 5.9. Wang questions the substantial building collapses, emphasizing the CCP's consistent claim of earthquake preventability and the establishment of a standard requiring structures to withstand strong earthquakes without collapsing. On the morning of December 19th, official experts characterized the earthquake as an independent occurrence, a main shock-aftershock type, located in the Lijianshan fault zone, exhibiting thrust fault characteristics. Within a 200-kilometer radius of the epicenter, 3 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or higher have been recorded since 1900. Mr. Fan Xiao, another expert, pointed out that seismic activity is common in the zones along the edge of the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. While earthquakes are not unusual from a seismic perspective, he noted that a magnitude 6.2 earthquake typically does not result in a high casualty count. The collapse of approximately 15,000 houses in Gansu indicates a failure to meet seismic fortification requirements. Concealing the true disaster situation. On December 19, the Gansu Provincial Emergency Management Department introduced a document discouraging the independent deployment of social rescue forces from other provinces and cities. This led Gansu officials to urgently instruct external civilian rescue forces already present in the disaster area to depart on the same day, a pattern reminiscent of the expulsion of foreign aid during this year's floods in Zhuizhou, Hebei Province. Wang Weiluo suggests that authorities might be withholding specific information, fearing that scenes captured by rescue teams on their phones would expose the true state of the so-called nationwide poverty alleviation. The collapse of so many houses indicates that the buildings in this area did not meet seismic fortification standards, revealing the falsehood of the CCP's poverty alleviation claims in 2020. Farmers are residing in substandard houses. He added, for instance, during the Wenchuan earthquake relief, upon arriving at the scene, they cordoned off collapsed houses and prevented others from assisting. They barred ordinary people from approaching. Do you believe they were engaged in relief efforts? Once they obstruct your assistance, even if you hear someone shouting below, they won't go and rescue. As long as information remains suppressed, whether a few more people perish or fewer people die, they remain silent. Do you think during the Wenchuan earthquake relief, they achieved something commendable? The entire village was engulfed by mudslides, the village vanished, and they didn't even need to report the deaths. The village was gone, and no one came forward to speak. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.